Hello and welcome to this practice. My name is Michael. I am tuning in from Helena, Montana. To start off, we're going to begin seated, so I recommend finding a nice comfortable seat before we drop into our opening breath, which will be just a few breaths to ground into the body and bring presence into the body and wherever you're at and wherever you're tuning in from, as well as Kapalabhati, so skull shining breath. So take a moment to make your seat cozy. We'll meet there. And once you find a comfortable seat, take a moment to anchor down through the back, the front, the sides of the pelvis, maybe a little wiggle and a root down, feeling downward force of energy, apana. And then from that foundation, allow your spine to grow tall like an aspen tree or, some of these other beautiful trees behind me in the backdrop here in Montana. Growing tall through the crown of your head, allow the chin to soften, allow the shoulders to soften, and allow the hands to come to a comfortable place on your lap, palms down or up, or in a mudra if you prefer. And we'll go ahead and meet on an empty breath, so go ahead and empty everything out. Take a full inhale through your nose, and then a nice sigh out the mouth. Last one, deepest inhale you've taken so far today. Take another sip at the top. Hold for another 4, 3, 2, 1. Audible sigh out of the mouth. Let this one drag out. Allowing your breath to normalize for a few moments. And if you're new to skull shining breath or Kapalabhati, what it is going to look and sound like is forced exhalations, forced with love, of course, forced exhalations out of your nose. So the breath is coming out of the nose. The inhales are going to happen naturally through the nose as well. So the mouth will remain closed. There is a forceful snap back of the abdominal muscles to the spine with that exhalation. Settle into your seat. Option to extend the arms overhead. Curl the first 4 fingers into the palms with the thumbs pointed towards one another. Elongate through the wrist, but soften the shoulders into the sockets. All right, go ahead and take a full breath in through the nose. Empty out of the mouth. Nice. Now take about a 3/4 full inhale, and then we'll begin pumping and snapping. Keep going here for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big inhale at the top. As you inhale, hold that, suspend, wrap and interlock your thumbs, and then spread the first 4 fingers in both hands. Hold that for another 4, for 3, lifting up for 2, 1, and then release and empty out the mouth. Allowing the hands to find the place back on the lap, allowing your breath to normalize here for a few moments. And we're going to go into one more round of that. So if that was new for you, congratulations. If that's not new for you, option to go a little bit deeper here. And now deeper necessarily doesn't mean faster. It could, if that works for you. That could also mean snapping back your abdominals with a little more force, with a little more vigor. All right, so the point here, if you haven't already felt, is to energize the body a little bit and also kind of warm up the core. So with that in mind, let's set up for the second round. Go ahead and reach the arms back up overhead like a V for victory shape. And then you're going to tuck those fingers in, thumbs point in, take a full breath in, empty out the mouth, 3/4 full inhale, and then we'll begin. keep pumping here. And again, invitation to go a little bit stronger, a little bit faster if you'd like to. Keep lengthening through the fists. Keep going here. You got this. Maybe drop the gaze if you haven't already. Close the eyes. Going here for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big inhale through the nose. Fill up every single cell in your body. Once you get that, retain, hold at the top, interlock the thumbs, spread the first 4 fingers. Now, if you're familiar with Mula Bandha, engage that, squeezing around the perineum and drawing that energy upwards through your spinal column, all the way up to the crown of the head. Holding, softening, but remaining still, strong, and upright for another 4, 3, 2, 1. Empty out the breath. Release the hands back onto the lap. Maybe closing the eyes here, just allowing that to land in the body, in the mind, allowing the breath to flow in and out normally with no effort, easefully, smoothly and calmly, like a gentle breeze of wind along your skin. Now, with that energized being you, as well as myself for dropping into that breath a little bit too. All right, so from here, we'll go ahead and come up out of your seat, and we're gonna come to stand at the top of our mats. If you did have blocks, you can set those towards the front of your mat. We're going to meet in mountain pose. So this practice is very much inspired by the nature that's around me here up in the mountains of southern Montana. So as you settle into mountain pose, you can have your feet maybe about hip width or bring the big toes together to connect with a tiny bit of space between the heels. Allow the arms to soften all the way down through the fingertips. Gentle little tuck of the tail. Feeling your feet firmly rooted and planted into your yoga mat, on top of the floor, on top of the earth. And that same kind of length from the base of the pelvis to and through the crown of the head. So the shoulders softening, the sides of the neck softening, yet the spine through the crown remains enlivened and lengthening upwards, Udana. Connecting to your breath here. Breathing in, breathing out. And as you continue breathing here, maybe the breath remains in and out of the nose for the remainder of this practice. Otherwise, you can always breathe out of your mouth whenever you feel like you need to. Last exhale here. And then on your next inhale, go ahead, open up the arms towards the sky, reaching up through the fingertips. Taking a few breaths here, upward salute, and seeing how long you can get from the outer edges of your feet all the way the outer edges of your arms, your wrists. Taking one more breath in, maybe look up and peek up, and then cactusing the elbows, coming into a little spinal extension, maybe a little back bend here. 90-degree bend of the elbows, heart, chest open, lifted, shining bright. Take another deep breath in. Take another deep breath out, retracting the shoulder blades. Good. Inhale, let's reach the arms back up towards the sky. As you exhale, twist to the right arm reaching back, left arm reaching ahead. And now what typically happens here is that right hip wants to move back as well. So do your best to keep that outer right hip moving forwards to keep the hips even. Taking another breath out here. And then on the inhale, back to upward salute. Both arms come up. And then exhale to the left, opening up. Right arm ahead, left arm reaching back. Outer left hip drawing forwards. Using the inhales to lengthen through the crown. Using the exhales to maybe deepen the twist in the spine. Last exhale there. And then inhale back to upward salute, reaching up. And then exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips. Take a halfway lift on the inhale. Hands maybe slide up onto the shins or fingertips. And then exhale back into a forward fold. Nice. From here in this forward fold, if the feet aren't already hip width, go ahead and widen them hip width. Grab opposite elbows. Allow the head to hang heavy. And then start to rock a little bit side to side, left and right. Allowing the breath to continue moving easily in and out. Good. And then pausing at the middle there. Switching the grip of the elbows. Shaking out the head, rolling out the neck a little bit, any way that feels good. Maybe even a little pedal of the legs. Good. And then coming to stillness, releasing the elbows, hands down by the feet. Take another halfway lift, inhale, and exhale to fold. Inhale, circle and rise all the way up towards the sky. And exhale, maybe see the palms connect, and right down the midline in front of the heart is where we'll land. One more of those. Inhale, circling up. Exhale, a little back bend as you cactus the arms. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, twisting to the right. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale to the left. Inhale, reaching up one more time. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Take a halfway lift on the inhale. Now from here, as you exhale, plant the hands, step your left foot all the way to the back of your mat, have the feet about hip width apart, and then lower your left knee down to the floor, untuck the left toes, circle both arms up towards the sky. Nice. Now as you anchor down through the right foot, the left knee, top of the left foot, a little scissoring action of the legs there, so you start to engage your foundation, creating a nice steady and strong foundation in the lower half of the body. Maybe a little tuck of the tail, shoulders stacked right on top of the hips, reaching up through the arms. Nice. Taking another deep breath in here. And then on the exhale, cactus the arms. And again, maybe a little back bend, only if it feels good. Stay for another breath in and another breath out. Good. Inhale, reach both arms back up towards the sky. And then exhale, take a twist to the right. Nice. From here, reconnecting to your breath, recommitting to your foundation. Arms nice and long. Crown nice and tall. Take one last breath out here, and then as you inhale, circle back forwards and up. On the exhale, bring the hands down to the floor, shift the hips back into a half split. Stay for another breath in and another breath out. Good. Inhale, back to that low lunge. Hands framing the right foot. Then you'll tuck the left toes, lift that left knee off of the floor, step back to a downward facing dog. All right, first downward facing dog here. So as you set your feet, you set your hands maybe a little bit wider than the shoulders, a little bit wider than the hips. Have a nice little generous bend of the knees. Maybe pedal out the feet here for a few moments. As you do so, connecting to your hands, really spreading the fingers nice and wide, pushing down through the inner palm as well as the outer palm. And then find a little stillness here in your down dog. Now we're going to stay with the toes tucked as you shift forwards to plank, and then lower the hips to hover, lift the heart and the chest like an upward facing dog, but on the toes. Give your glutes a nice little squeeze and contraction, opening up the hip flexors, and then exhale back to a downward facing dog. Nice. From here, take another deep breath in, push the hips back a little bit, like you're loading a spring. On the exhale, step your right foot, then left foot to the top of your mat. Take a halfway lift on the inhale, forward fold on the exhale. Another halfway lift on the inhale. This time as you exhale, plant the hands and then step your right foot all the way towards the back of your mat, feet about hip width, lower the right knee down, untuck the right toes, circle both arms up towards the sky. Second side. Connecting to your breath. as you start to solidify your foundation, the lower body, the legs. Little tuck of the tail. I like to tuck my tail because that feels like it gives me a lot of stability in the hips, as well as a nice opening in the front of my right hip flexors as my right hip is in extension here. Take one more breath in, reaching up, maybe peek up, and then on the exhale, cactus, and bend the elbows and the arms. Spreading the chest nice and wide. Take one more breath in, one more breath out. Reach both arms up towards the sky, inhale, and then open up to the left as you exhale. Now making sure that left knee is stacked right over the left ankle. And imagine like there were somebody on each end of your hand and wrist, and they were lightly, lovingly pulling them further away from one another. So your arms are really spreading out nice and long. Take one more breath out there, and then inhale, circle forwards and up. Exhale, hands come down to frame the left foot, shift back into a hip half splits. Getting into the left hamstring here for one more breath in and out. Good, and then shifting back forwards. Tucking the right toes, lifting the right knee off the floor, step back to a down dog. Shift forwards to plank on the inhale, and then lower the hips to hover, modified up dog. And then go ahead and send the hips back up high to the sky, downward facing dog. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to turn that into a little flow, and we're going to add a few little segments and little pieces here and there. We're going to come from kneeling to standing. So let's go ahead, a few rounds here, flowing, breath to movement connection. So for these next few moments that we spend flowing and breathing together, I want you to do your best moving as in sync and in rhythm and in harmony with your body and with your breath. All right, so let's go ahead and reach that right leg up towards the sky. Take an inhale as high as you want to lift it. And then exhale, step the right foot between the hands, top of the mat. Inhale, circle and rise, crescent pose. We'll stay here and let this land for a few breaths. Getting as precise as possible with your breathing and your movement, creating that nice flow state. Take one more breath in here, reaching up, maybe a little lean back, and then on the exhale, cactus the elbows, bend the arms. Stay for another breath in, squeezing the shoulder blades. Stay for another breath out. Good. Inhale, reach the arms back up towards the sky. And then exhale, open up to the right, take a twist. Letting that land for a breath in. Smooth breath out. One more of those there. Smooth breath out. And now circle both arms back up towards the sky, looking ahead. On the exhale, spin your left heel flat, land in warrior two. Nice, setting that foundation with the legs. Maybe you look down and check out the feet, heel to heel alignment. Left leg is straight and strong. That right knee pointed in the same direction, straight ahead as those right toes and the right fingertips. Nice, now really peel back that left shoulder. Broaden across the chest, across the collarbones. Nice, from here, go ahead and flip that right palm up towards the sky. Take an inhale, reverse warrior. Maybe you wrap that left arm behind. Staying for a breath out. Staying for another breath in as you deepen that bend of that right knee. And then on the exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Step right back to a downward facing dog. From here, shifting forwards to plank. And then lowering the hips to hover, lifting, spreading the chest nice and wide, straight, strong arms, back to downward facing dog. Left leg's going to lift on the inhale, as high as you want to bring it. Exhale, smoothly, softly step it through between the hands. Rise both arms, crescent pose. And then we'll land here, we'll ground here for a few moments. Same kind of cues as when we came into that kneeling position, right? Anchoring down through the front heel, little tuck of the tail, opening up across the front of the right hip flexors here. Take one more deep breath in, maybe look up and lean back, and then exhale, cactus the arms, bend the elbows. Staying for another breath in, letting go for a breath out. Inhale, reach the arms up, and then taking a twist to the left, opening up as you exhale. Poised and calm, allow the breath to be the anchor, as well as your feet, your legs, your lower body. What are you choosing to focus on here? Can you choose to focus on your breath? Take one more breath out, and then inhale, circle both arms up, looking ahead. Exhale, warrior two, right heel spins flat. Nice landing here for a few breaths as you settle in the legs. Where your attention goes, energy flows. You have 100% control as to where your energy is going. You have 100% control as to what you're choosing to place your focus on. So now let's place our focus on flipping that left palm up towards the sky, coming back into reverse warrior. Staying here for a few breaths. Integrity in the legs, connected to the breath. On your next exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor. Step that left foot back to a downward facing dog. All right, you can get a little wavy in the spine here if you'd like to. You're going to shift again to plank, lowering the hips to hover. A little up dog on the toes. Great downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here in downward facing dog. All right, so what we're going to do is turn that into a little flow. All right, a little empowered flow. One movement, one breath. That same invitation. How precise can you be with connecting your breath to the movement? All right, now check this out. Let's reach that right leg back up towards the sky, adding a little bit of a core movement here. Right knee to the left elbow as you exhale. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale to the right elbow. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, step it through. Root to rise, crescent pose. Exhale, cactus, bend the elbows. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, back to crescent. Warrior two, exhale. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back to downward facing dog. You know where to go. Unravel and roll that spine. Getting that good extension. And then exhale, bring it back to downward facing dog. All right, it wouldn't be empowered without some core. Right, left leg's going to lift up high. Exhale, cross it to the right. High and tight. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale to the left, to the left. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, step it through. Root to rise, crescent. Elbows bend and descend. Inhale, reach them up. Exhale, twisting to the left. Inhale, back to crescent. Warrior two, exhale. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back to downward facing dog. Take that slow roll. Unraveling your spine. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open up the mouth, let out a sigh. Deep breath in. Lower the knees on the exhale. Great. From here, crawl your knees ahead. Come onto your butt. Straighten out the legs in front of you. We'll come meet in staff pose, Dandasana. Just for a moment. reconnecting to your breath, reconnecting to the earth below you. Great, and then from here, you can go ahead and scoot the hips up a little bit more. We'll go ahead and recline onto the back, hugging both knees into the chest as you do so. Give them a little gentle hug and squeeze, a little rock from side to side. A lower back stimulation of that thoracolumbar fascia. A little self-release, a little self-massage. And then just coming into an easy twist, both legs off to the left, reaching that right arm out to the right, palm facing the sky. You could use your left hand, place on the outer right thigh, give it a few breaths here. And then that next inhale, draw the knees up and over, and then exhale off to the right. Couple breaths here. Just really allowing the exhales to elongate here as we decelerate and decline. And go ahead and bring those knees back over the hips. A little hug and squeeze. And go ahead and set the feet flat. Cross your right ankle on top of the left thigh. We'll come into reclining pigeon. You can go ahead and wrap the hands around the left hamstring or the left shin. If the upper neck is tight, you can always slide a pillow or even a block underneath there for support, so your chin's not sticking up, but rather there's a little gentle tuck of the chin. Giving that another breath in and out. And then going ahead and releasing, uncrossing, coming right into that on the other side. Left ankle crossing. And then taking your variation of reclining pigeon. Maybe the eyes remain closed here. And give that one more breath in and out. And then you can go ahead and release after the next exhale. Uncross. Last time here, give both knees a nice hug and squeeze. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Curl the forehead up to meet the knees. Take another sip. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then empty out the breath. Come into Savasana. Taking a moment to allow your limbs to settle and soften. Remaining quiet, remaining still. And finding within that quietness and stillness the deep state of peace. Disconnecting from the outer world and the external world so that you can deeply connect to the internal world, your internal world. Meeting whatever's arising with compassion, with open arms. Now, if you have some time here to lay for a bit longer, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can gently bring the knees into the chest and start to rock a little bit up and down the spine. Coming into a final seat, anywhere on your mat. We'll bring this one to a close. Just expressing gratitude to all of you for joining. Gratitude towards yourself for taking the time out of your day to give back to yourself in this beautiful and ancient way of mindfulness, breath, and movement. And a moment of gratitude to your body, to our bodies, for allowing us to move through these practices and life with ease, with effort, and many lessons along the way. Thank you, body. Thank you, body. Let's go ahead and close this one by bringing the thumbs to the forehead, taking a final breath in through the nose and out of the mouth. Deep bow to every one of you at home. Namaste. Ometeotl. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you next time on the mat.